I recognize the member from Regina Wall Shakers.
Well, the member opposite just sat down and he was talking about Saskatchewan. This is not Saskatchewan. This is not Saskatchewan. I would like to welcome you to the new Saskatchewan. The three speeches we just heard from the members opposite were utter and total nonsense. It was ridiculous to sit here and listen. One of the members from Elphinstone talked about the 1980s. I wasn't even born yet. Get over it. We're not the 1980 Conservatives. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm going to start this speech off with a thank you. I would like to thank the employees of Sask Energy. We can all agree in this chamber that last weekend was a pretty cold weekend in Saskatchewan, the coldest ever in quite a few communities. And those men and women at Sask Energy did an absolutely amazing job. 23 of our communities reached minus 40.7 degrees Celsius without the wind chill. It was much colder in Regina, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And the men and women worked 24/7 to ensure that when people needed it the most, that furnaces were on, people were safe, and I just want to say thank you very much to the hardworking men of the Crown Corporation of Sask and men and women of the Crown Corporation of Sask Energy. They did a wonderful job last weekend. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there's a few corrections I'll have to make after listening to the members' opposite speeches. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, I think it's totally an unbelievable statement for those men. There's the three men that spoke for the NDP, stood in their spots and talked about how wonderful they treated the Crown corporations under their 16 years. It's an unbelievable statement that they think people don't realize actually what went on when they were in government. I don't know how they continue to stick their heads in the sand like an ostrich and pretend nothing happened under their terms in government, Mr. Deputy Speaker. But just for reference, talking about Sask Energy and the wonderful job they did last weekend, since 2008, including 08 to 03, the gross capital spending has totaled $970.5 million of capital investment for Sask Energy. This is compared to $434 million under the previous 5 years of the NDP government. Now, that's pretty close to 50% more investment in Sask Energy, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And you wonder why some of our Crown corporations had to increase their debt ratio a little bit, Mr. Deputy Speaker. The members opposite totally ignored infrastructure.
Sure did.
But infrastructure investments into our Crown corporations. But a few things they didn't ignore, and this, Mr. Deputy Speaker, will be some fantastic reading for the NDP caucus, a couple of the researchers after the speech. SaskTel dividend history, Mr. Deputy Speaker. 2000. The NDP took 94%. 2001, the NDP took 90%. 2002, the NDP took 90%. 2003, the NDP took 92%. In stark contrast, Mr. Deputy Speaker, 2008, dividend 64%. 2009, dividend 80%. 2010, 90%. 2012, 65% for SaskTel. Mr. Speaker, but I'd like to talk about a few more of the dividends that our members opposite don't really tell the public about how much the dividends they took, or actually how much they invest, because it's embarrassing, really, Mr. Deputy Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, some investments that they did take from Sask Power were, I'll get those in a few seconds, Mr. Deputy Speaker, but I want to talk about some more of our investments. Average infrastructure investment from 2000 to 2007 was $568 million from the NDP. Mr. Deputy Speaker, infrastructure investment from 2008 to 2012, $1.2 billion. That's an investment, Mr. Deputy Speaker, in our infrastructure across our province. It's an investment in the people of Saskatchewan. It's an investment that shows businesses that want to come to Saskatchewan that we are serious about the companies that provide our power, provide our energy, provide the things that businesses need to get started in our province, Mr. Speaker. And that's why businesses are coming to Saskatchewan more and more. And I think why this debate came about, Mr. Deputy Speaker, if I can take some insight into the opposition, is they want to talk about privatization. They want to have the debate that they tried to have for the last 93 elections, Mr. Deputy Speaker, so they could scare the people of our province. This is all about fear-mongering from the NDP again, Mr. Deputy Speaker. They want to scare people. They talk about people losing their jobs. I think they don't realize that we live in this province as well, and my neighbours are SAS Power workers. My neighbours work for SAS Energy, and we know these individuals and these employees as well as they do, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And I'm not hearing the same response from their having fear of the SAS party being in government, Mr. Deputy Speaker. They know our government takes pride in our Crown corporations. We support our Crown corporations through infrastructure investments, and they don't have the same fear that they're showing on the other side of the benches. And there's another thing that we wanted to have a little conversation about, and it's there's a conversation in the news a couple of weeks ago about casinos, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And I would like to read a quote from Chief Perry Bellegarde. Yes, I was talking to him all weekend. In fact, on Sunday I offered, can we meet with Premier Wall to clear the air? Get on the same page. He said no. Do you want a copy of the MOU? He said no. That's why I'm disheartened. And I'm really disappointed in what's happened with this, because we're getting caught with a good opportunity. Again, it's not rushed. And to everybody else that's listening throughout Saskatchewan, what was proposed was strictly limited to Casinos Regina and Moose Jaw, no other Crown corporations, just those two in particular. That was it. It was just to start the process. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is obviously about the conversation that FSIN wanted to have about Casino Regina and Moose Jaw. And those members over there, at the start, had some tacit agreement from the Leader of the Opposition, and then those members over there did a 180 on the FSIN. And my question, Mr. Speaker, is there was two members from Athabasca and Cumberland. Where were they in this conversation? In this caucus meeting, when the nine of them agreed to totally change their mind and flip-flop on this issue, Mr. Speaker, which is kind of what they've been known to. Where were the two members from the North sticking up for the FSIN, sticking up for the voice of First Nations people across the province, which had a great opportunity to get more involved in the economy of Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker? Where was the voice of the two members from the North? Is their voice so weak in that caucus among 9 of them that they couldn't be heard? They could not talk. They could not talk to their members and say, this is a wonderful opportunity. This is a wonderful opportunity, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We want to take this opportunity. We want to take Chief Perry Bellegarde's advice and say, you know what? This is a fantastic opportunity for First Nations people across the province, and we're going to stick up for them. We're going to make sure that our caucus colleagues know that we want this opportunity. Nothing. Silent. Nothing. They have this one quick meeting, change their mind, their leader flip-flops, they won't even have a conversation with Chief Bellegarde and the Premier to try and get something started, Mr. Speaker. I find it very disheartening that they just go blindly through the night. They have no plan, they have no policy anywhere. They've had a new leader for a year, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and they don't got a lick of policy on their website. They have no idea where they're going, and they want to rehash this Crown Corporation privatization debate so they can scare a few people, a few Crown employees, and make them think that they're trying to protect the rights of the workers, when I think the member from Rosemont just rehashed his speech he gave a couple days ago, Mr. Speaker. And I think it's all just fear-mongering, and I think it's time for them to jump into the 21st century, into a new Saskatchewan, and come on board, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Time for debate has expired.